Okay, so we've come almost all the way to the end of the first part of this class. We've dissected the sites, named all the areas, analyzed the content. We've modeled the content in a relational database. We've modeled and implemented the navigation. So we pretty much have an entire site taken apart and jammed into a database via the mechanism of the model of the information, the model of the access structures and the model of the information types. Our last step here is to go backwards and now say, I'm going to take the stuff that I have in my database and I'm going to begin to build pages from it. Because in the end, that's what we're trying to do. This whole first part is simply to deduce a structure. And now what I want to do with that structure is I want to use that structure to start going forward, to start building web pages. Okay, in order to do that, you need the concept of a template. So give me the hands here. Way up in the air like this is, oh, I know all about templates. I've been using them forever. You got nothing to tell me about templates. And down here is, I've never even heard that word before. So give me where you're at with the idea of templates. Okay, Evan and Cody are going to be the people to go to. When you're struggling at midnight, just zip them off in IM and they'll tell you all about it. So we got a couple of ringers, but most people are about where I thought you'd be. You've heard it before, I hope. You kind of have some idea, and now I'm going to give you the lowdown on it. I'm going to give you a way of really making sure that you take this idea into account for the rest of your life, because it's a lifelong concept. It changes all the time. There's lots of ways. But the idea of the template is going to be okay. Template is a program. Make no mistake, it is a program, software. To display info types and access structures wrapped in static text and format. The idea of the template is I have the general presentation, I have the layout and the look and feel, I have the information I need and merges it to the final page. And if you think about it, that's what we've been doing so far. Trying to pull out the layout and look and feel and pull it apart, and the data, the stuff that's actually injected into that look and feel and layout, and pull them apart. Now it's time to figure out how to get that together again. How do I make that happen? So it's a program. It has code in it. It has commands in it. It has logic in it. And the point is to reach the data structure, in this case, and pull out information type information, pull out access structure information, and throw it up on a screen, on a layout, in the context, wrapped around or wrapped inside all of the look and feel. So we're not bothering to store the look and feel. And it's almost a truism. That people take completely for granted that in a modern website or a modern anything, the look and feel and the information are in two different places. That's the idea of a template. The template that brings them both together again. Template has one foot in the world of the display. So in our case, we're going to be using HTML templates. 1 foot in the world of HTML, 1 foot in the world of the data structure. And your job as a template creator is to make an effective system of programs that pull the right stuff out and put them on the right part of the page. Okay, so you're all familiar with this. A Word template. I go into Microsoft. I want something that kind of looks like this, so I click the button, and up comes a blank, basically. Up comes fill in the blanks kind of thing. That's a useful concept of a template because that's sort of what we're doing as well, but we're doing something much more sophisticated. PowerPoint template. Notice what my presentation. I put all the content in my presentation. Now I click a button and I change the template. What changed? Did the information in the presentation change? No, information is totally the same. What changed? And the layout. That's exactly what different PowerPoint templates give you. They give you variations of the look and feel and the layout, and you get to say what the content is. You've already spoken all the content. Now the only thing that's changed. What's another template? And when you look at this, what you might be thinking of another word. No? Starts with an S. Skins are but I'll show you sort of the difference between something and an HTML. We changed to reskin. I'm going to talk about the difference between CSS and templates because there is a difference. But you get the idea. Look and feel and layout is in the template, and the content is the same regardless. Okay, here's a WordPress template. WordPress like rules these days. Sickens me actually that WordPress houses. That's way they need to do it. They need to have something kind of like PowerPoint, where you just say, oh, I want this look and feel. For you guys are not newbies. You guys are architects. You guys are under the surface of how things work. And so WordPress is kind of the counterexample to that. WordPress for people that really do this stuff themselves. They don't know enough to create a website, skin that website themselves, to database that website, so they have tools like WordPress in order to get them going. So WordPress has templates as well. Look and feel and layout. And WordPress has you type in forms and you then can change your look and feel and layout with a click of a button. You guys would be the ones, I hope, who are creating WordPress themes. Another word is themes. Sometimes we use the word theme, and theme is kind of like a skin as well. It's the way that I want things to kind of feel as I work through. Okay, we've been here. A web template. Right? A web template at the page level, a web page template, lays out the overall large-scale, gross look and feel and layout of the page. Banner, local nav, ads, info area, whatever. Right? We've seen this before, and now we're going to be tying back into that because we want to go backwards into this. We want to create the one of these, not figure out how somebody else created one. Okay, here's a web template. We've been here. Right? And what I want you to see, sort of, is when you blank out all of the actual text. What's left behind? What's left behind is stuff into which we're going to push our information. And by the way, this form is no less a template than this presentation up here. But the template is extracting out the content from the page, leaving behind the layout, and then finding some way of wording text into this place, p.node into that place, wording p.title into that place. Okay, web templates versus CSS. And this is generally not just CSS, but a skin program, right? CSS has logic. CSS has what's called a declarative system. One of these is a one of these, and a one is a one. So they are the same, and they're the same in the sense that both are look and feel and layout, but there's a big difference. Content is already there. That there's nothing I can really do about the content. I'm just going to wrap the content in a different look and feel. So that's why it can be declarative. This content has this look and feel, this content has this look and feel, this content ought to float over here, this content ought to be in an absolute position, this content ought to have a border, etc. But it doesn't get to tell you what the content is. That's the big difference. Templates not only do, but they also select content. They're also little database programs that say, I want this particular content and not that content. So CSS array skinning thing is all about making what you already have look some way. Templates are all about getting what you want and then also making it look the way you want. Some of them are declarative, but most of them are procedural. Most of them work like programs. So we're going to see how that goes in just a second. Okay. That's what a template has. Logic, command, and format. So this part is the programming part, and this part is the declarative part. So notice, by the way, that templates don't undo CSS, JavaScript, and HTML. They work inside them. So a single template is going to have CSS, it's going to have JavaScript in it, it's going to have HTML in it, but it's also going to have all that stuff. So if you test it all, likely that you've done it a PHP page on the server, and you have a little some code that says this chunk of HTML, now put it in this database field, now put it in this chunk of HTML, now put it in this database field, now put it in this chunk of HTML, go through this loop, and the loop inserts a certain amount of HTML for every record. It's completely programmatically. You build a page only from a program. The template is very different than that. The template says my program is embedded stuff inside the page. And so you'll see how that works in a second. Here's the bottom line. I create an ahref. I'm creating a link on my web page. My web page has a class, CSS. My link has some CSS. My link also has some some JavaScript going on, but my link has an href JavaScript, and it isn't CSS. It comes instead from my database. So I'm inserting the URL in here. My link has hot text, and similarly, I'm inserting the hot text from my data structure. Okay, so here's a command. The command says select URL and hot text from my add table, and then insert them into these two places. On top of that, I also have logic. If my framework has an add, then do this. But if my framework doesn't have an add, don't do this at all. It goes way beyond the capabilities of scanning, because it's saying I may not have this area of the page at all. Not this area of the page goes over here or looks like this, but does it have that area or not? You can see that this is seriously powerful stuff, because I can do whatever I want. I have data structure over here, and my site is completely up to me. And that's where we're going in this class, the idea that your site is completely up to you. You have structured information behind the scenes, but what are you going to do with it? How are you going to put it on the site, and how are you going to make sure that you can change that and modify it as your ideas change? Because you have logic, conditionals and loops, and that fetch stuff from the data and put it in certain locations on the page. And you have all the power of standard design, standard UX. Okay, so let's get into some details here. Here's a very simple page template. Page template says my page is going to be tables, and it's going to have one row, and that row is going to span two columns, and my banner goes in there. And I have under there another row of columns. That area goes here, item area goes here. Very simple, straightforward idea. And why I put this on the screen is not to say that's how we're going to do it, but to tell you that that's the idea. Notice what is not here. It's what you feel on the layout of the page. I'll look at it from another angle. There's a much more kind of modern way of doing this. We're doing it with tables, now we're doing it with this. And each of those divs has an ID, so it's addressable on the page. You can use the document object model to navigate and find out what things are. And each of the divs, the look and feel is off to the side, and what's this? That file off to the side, that's the look and feel in the divs. And inside here is what's this? Content. Okay, so this is the look and feel part of the template. Notice, if you know anything about HTML, you already know all about the look and feel part. Nice thing. Template called subtemplates. The subtemplates called an info, nav, or logic. And so at the top level, we have a page template. That page template is responsible for calling in templates that deal with each area on the page. And in each area, we can call subtemplates, etc. But mostly what we're doing is calling in info from the item. We're calling in navigational logic. So in each area, we're going to either build nav or we're going to build content. Build nav, build content. Okay, so here's a look at that. Now I'm using a particular templating language here that's one that I know a lot about, which is called XSLT. And you don't really need to know about that language, and I don't care whether you learn about it or not. What I want you to see here is the way it works. So here's my TDs. And now, notice under the TD, I have a separate thing that says call template. I'm going to put that code in there, and that's what I'm going to do at that point. Then I have another TD, and it calls a different template. And it calls that template. You subscribe, you start to see that word program language. Templates. Those templates are like routines. They're like functions or subroutines. And they get parameters. So I can do stuff. I can do logic. I can do selection. And in the end, do stuff like this. Page one. Inside page one, inject the title. Inside this one, for each photo, notice there's a piece of logic here saying for each photo, do something. I've got it closed up. So I don't want you to dwell on this per se and to not, to try and understand the syntax. What I want you to see is that we have an interspersion of HTML. Here's an HTML, here's HTML. Oh, all of a sudden here's a template command. HTML, template command. Template command, template command, template command, HTML. The HTML and template commands are interspersed. So I can run those template commands when I need them. Okay, so here's my call to a template. Here's my page level template. And here's my area level template. The area level template is called title index. I'm putting the title index in that area, in that cell. Okay, same thing here, photo area gets that template, and each parameter is passed from the call-in template up here, the page level template, to the area level template, and now I have that parameter photo ID, and I can use that photo ID in my logic as I go forward. Okay, so same thing here, only I'm now calling it from a div structure, and here's the summary of how templates work. Here's my page. This is my layout of the page, with what we've seen before, header and nav and item inside the page template. Here's my page template that I've implemented now in this. My page template calls back up to a bunch of code. That code is a combination of HTML and template code, and that's how I build my page. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there. Yeah, I'm going to stop there, give you about 5 minutes, and we're going to pick this up on Thursday, and you're going to start to build your pages. And the only thing I want to do before you leave is show you sort of the result that we're aiming for.